Yo, Barbecue Church. We definitely out here right now. I hope y'all doing good. I'm running this recording right before it needs to go online. That's what it is, man. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. So I'm at Deep Creek, out here in Maryland. That's where I'm at right now. My brother's family has a big old lake house out here. So my niece and nephew, my kids wanted to see them, hang out with Uncle Mike and Aunt Christian. So here we are. So drove out here. We're here for a couple of days. Then I'm back. We go back home. I'm home for 24 hours, and then it's off to New Jersey for a while for me. And I'll be with some of my favorite people to work with, which will be nice. And yeah, it's good, man. Say something in the comments if you're one of those people that says something in the comments. If not, send me a message and say something to me. And just say, hey, I saw that. It was nice because a couple of y'all did that the last week, and it made me, I was like, man, all right, man, that feels good to know that y'all watching. So it's just encouraging. You know what I mean? Like, I like to know. I want to know who's out here in these streets. So let's see, some of y'all might have seen on my Facebook that on the way out here, had a little situation. It was wild. Basically, you know, my whole family sleep. We got a Toyota Sienna, right? We got one of them little minivans, and I'm driving in Ohio. If y'all know anything about Ohio and driving through it, you got to make sure that you ain't messing around, because it's Ohio anyway. So I ain't gonna say nothing bad about Ohio. But anyway, so I'm driving 2:30 in the morning. I drive straight through the night, right? And so I see a car that looks like it hit the guardrail, and there's like a small fire, like the size of my phone, just real small fire under the hood. And I was like, yo, but I'm going 75. I can't just skirt, you know, and then it's dangerous, you know, all that. So it took me a second to kind of like regain my composure and be like, hold on, wait a second. There was a U-turn spot right up there. One of them U-turn spots that I'm on the turnpike, y'all. It was one of them authorized vehicles only. And at that moment, I was like, I'm authorized, baby. I'm authorizing myself. I got something in my phone that says can do what I want. So I flip the U on the thing and I take off, blow. And my wife kind of woke up. She's like, what's going on? I was like, nah, I just got to go back here real quick. I see it pull up, bow, hit the side. She goes, hey, yo. I go, yo, just hit 911 real quick. And y'all know I got those Guardian Angel lights that I use for traffic control and parking. Shout out to Guardian Angel. So I put my Guardian Angel on, and I hit the flashlight part where it shines forward, but then it's flashing in the back so that, you know, cars don't hit me. Boom, I run down. I'm looking in the car. The fire's starting to rage a little bit. And so I yell out, is anybody in that car? Is anybody in that car? Nobody says anything. There's a truck. He's backing up the expressway. I'm like, dude, you need to dip. He's like, what's going on? I was like, ain't nobody in the car. But then I walk up to the car because you have to, you know. So I walk up, I look in the back seat. There's nobody there. You check the back seat first. You know, if there's kids, you know. So I check the back seat. Blow, nobody's there. I just see a bunch of tools and stuff. And then I look, and the fire's like, gah. And so I look over. I do like one of these. And nobody's in the passenger seat. And I'm like, all right, the seatbelt ain't connected. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I start pulling back. I go up and I talk to my wife. I can hear her talking to 911. And I'm like, yo, da da. And then a fire truck was trying to get down, and we could see him on a bridge, but he couldn't get down to the thing. And then I heard something go, blah. And I was like, we out. We out. Bro, I got in the car, just whipped it out. And then hit the next U-turn spot, popped back. Thank God they were like right close to each other, not even like a half a mile away. When I drove back through, the car was completely engulfed in flames, like completely engulfed in flames. My adrenaline was kicking for like an hour and a half. But then it was like I had that moment of feeling like, yo, did I check good enough? You know, like your mind is playing tricks on you. Like, yo, did I do good enough? Like, what if there was somebody in the floorboard? Like, it was, scary. But I kept checking the news to see if something happened, because the only time they're really going to say anything, because it didn't block traffic or anything, the only time they're going to say something is if somebody was gone. And I said nothing, so I was like, all right, cool. But anyway, it was just like one of those wild moments of, you got to check, like, you got to help people. Like, that's what we're here for. So anyway, that's my story. That has nothing to do with what I want to talk about today. But, hey, it is what it is. That's my story. Real quick, so the thing that I was thinking of, I can hear a boat coming across the water. Anyway, I'm like, it's gonna start shaking this. I'm standing on a dock, and when this thing starts getting shaky, it's wild. Anyway, but I can swim. I can swim. Oh, they got the jet skis though. But I can swim. Anyway, so I'm looking at 1 Kings 19, right? And this is, so Elijah's out here in these streets, right? And he had just got done doing the whole spectacle, like there was the altar thing, and he went against the prophets of Baal and was like, yo, whoever's God calls down fire is the real one true God. That's what we're gonna do. Let the real one say something. Then, did all the water on the stuff. I think I've talked about this before. It was about maybe a couple years ago. But they put the water on the altar, and then God answers with fire. Blow. Like, after Baal's fire, he ain't bring nothing. Real God shows up, blow, fire. Licked up everything. So then Jezebel was like, yo, I'm killing Elijah, dog. I'm gonna kill you. So the man runs, right? He runs. And God feeds him. Was like, yo. He goes, hey man, go down here, hit this spot, and there's a cave, right? So he's in a cave. This 1 Kings 19, right? He's in a cave, and the Lord's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, yo, I've been your man's for so long, like I had you held down, and now there's nobody else. There's nobody else. I'm the only one holding it down for God for real. And God says, this is verse 11, right? He says, go out and stand before me on the mountain. All right. And it says that Elijah stood there. And this just gets me. All right. The Lord passed by, and a mighty windstorm hit the mountain. It was such a terrible blast that the rocks were torn loose, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire, there was a sound of a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in a cloak and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. Now, it says, after that, he went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. But before the Lord said, go out and stand before me on the mountain. So, if he said, go out and stand before me on the mountain, but after the whisper, he went out and stood at the entrance of the cave, it means that he didn't obey the first command. That's what it reads to me. Because if he said, go out and stand before me on the mountain, but he didn't move and stand at the entrance of the cave until afterwards, that means he didn't listen. Y'all tell me. That's what it sounds like to me. All right. And the thing that I'm seeing here is God didn't speak in the way that you would expect God to speak. There's wind, blow, crazy wind blowing everything up. Rocks breaking free. God ain't talking about that. Earthquake, blow, shaking everything up. But God ain't speaking in that. Fire, blow, God isn't speaking in that. And then God whispers. That whisper, like a lot of times we expect God to do the big and the miraculous right in the moment that we're expecting him to do it. And we want him to do that. And a lot of times God is speaking. God wants to speak to you through relationship. Like outward signs are dope. Like God doing outward things is dope. Like, and it's great that he does it, and God really does come through, truly does. But God wants to move in relationship. That whisper was something of being close, of being right there. To whisper is to be right there. is to be intimate. If you're whispering, you're right up here, right? God wants to move at the speed of the relationship. God wants to speak in relationship. God wants to talk to you out of relationship. It's not, he doesn't want to do the big grand spectacle to blow you up and to be like, oh, look at me, blah, blah. It's like, hey, no, the key thing is our relationship. That's what God wants. A lot of times we want to focus on the things that we want, the things that we need, the things that we're praying for, the things like we want all that, all those things. And God cares about those things. But number one is relationship. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? You can gain everything and still lose your soul. God is worried about your soul. God is concerned about your soul and who you are. Your relationship with God is the most important. You being in the right place, you being in the right job, you being in the right thing, that comes first. It's not the big grand spectacle. God doesn't need the hand claps. God's not here for the hand claps. He's not here for these moments of like, oh snap, God did fire, God did this, God did, like those testimonies are great. But the relationship is what he's truly after. He does those things to pull you closer into relationship, and your relationship has to grow in him. And as your relationship continues to grow, things begin to develop. And most of the time, sometimes those big things happen, and they happen in that big grand scheme. But it's not always about that, fam. It's not always about that. It's not always those big grand things. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes he just pulls a little audible and shifts everything, and it causes an avalanche, and all of a sudden you're like, what just happened? And it's like God came through, just not in the way you expected. But relationship. Fam, if you're not walking in relationship with God, we need to walk in relationship with God. We need to, like it says, listen, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord, right, you will be saved. That's it. So confess, all right? It's saying, hey, look, I'm a sinful person, and Jesus died for sin, and so Jesus is Lord. He came to take over and pay. He paid for that sin, so I accept that payment. Like I want relationship with him. I want him to be my Lord. That's where this is at. And then you wait for the whisper. It's time to wait for the whisper. And watch God move. Yeah, God still does stuff for us. Like we're children. We're his children. God still moves in our life. God cares about you, regardless of whether you recognize him or not. But at the end of the day, God is looking for that relationship with you. That's what he wants. So make sure your relationship is right. Make sure it's truly connected. And then make sure you're ready for the whisper. Make sure you're listening. Have those moments of make sure you're praying. Make sure you're reading the word. Get in there. When you don't understand, talk to God about it. Hey, God, I don't understand what's going on. I need you to get involved. And then let God move. Let God do his thing. That's what we on, yo. That's the type of stuff we need to be doing. Whoa! I almost dropped the camera, y'all. I got this nice little tripod. I almost kicked it out. Jet skis are wilding. Anyway, so look, jumpstart your relationship with God. Make sure that relationship is doing its thing. And keep praying, keep believing. We never know what God's doing. Like there's some stuff that I've been talking about. There's stuff that we've been praying about as a company with the stuff that I'm doing. And I'm going, man, I know God is moving, and I see him slowly developing and making stuff happen, and I see him pushing things forward in an amazing way. But it's all in his timing because of what he wants to do, and he knows ultimately what needs to happen moving forward. Here we go. This whole dock is shaking like crazy. Anyway, so look, get your relationship with God, do that thing, trust God, don't get scared, Don't get frustrated. Trust God. And you know, maybe sometimes it just takes a moment to throw your hands up and say, God, I trust you. Whatever you want to do in this moment, do in this moment. Change stuff in my heart and change where I'm at and help me begin to trust you more. Sometimes that's where we need to be. So look, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Holla at me, text me, call me, Facebook message me if you need me. I'm in these streets. So I'm on vacation for a couple more days. And then I'm in New Jersey. And I'll be doing that thing. I'll be available. You know, we'll be parking, taking care of some stuff. I'll be available. You can holler at me. We'll be doing the thing. Yeah, you'll be seeing some sermons coming at you from the Sussex County Fairgrounds. So we out here, y'all. But look, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We out. These birds is loud, man. All right. See them jet skis back there. I ain't getting on them. Anyway, gang.